Alright, hello. Before I start this video, I just wanted to real quick mention the fact that my ISP told me that there was an unrecoverable error on my phone line and therefore I do not have any internet connection. The videos for the next few weeks will be uploaded through my own mobile data, so that's very fun. If you see a bit less videos, this is why, and I just wanted to get that out of the way. So, now for the important stuff. So, elemental damage. We need this video, I think this would be the most requested video out of all of them. So I'll try to make it as simple and as quick as possible without getting too much into yapping, let's say. Because I did record this already once and I realized after that I was yapping for quite a while. So let me change to moderate so I'm not annoyed by the pulse. And, well, so elemental damage, there is a lot of types of it. Specifically, there is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I didn't even know how to look the wiki to check how many there was exactly. So for each element, the normal basic elements will do the Hystrix Prime. It's the easiest one to show them all because it has a normal firing mode and it takes all elements into account. So let's start with each one by one. Poison. Basically DOT. So DOT or dot, when you hear me using this word, it's for damage over time. So damage over time effects, basically all of them except one stack forever and stack infinite amount of times, but we'll see which one doesn't, and we'll see some stuff about them. So with Toxin, we deal damage over time to the enemy. Every Toxin stack adds more damage over time and more different procs, and it scales with crit, it scales with headshots, it scales with everything that has to do with that. Now, that is about it. The very good part about Toxin is that it goes through shields, so it's perfect against Corpus. We'll get to those later. So with heat damage, the second dot, we're gonna have an armor reduction on the enemy that is getting the heat proc up to 50%. This has to just tick to a specific amount of time and then it goes back up slowly, as you can see. Heat procs have some properties that are very weird. So first of all, unlike Toxin and unlike every other infinite scaling element, these actually do not decay as long as you can reproc the heat. And this has some interesting properties because of this. Because this stacks infinitely as long as you hit it, whatever stacks this guy may have, I can inherit all those stacks, and when I change the weapon and I hit the enemy with a new weapon, the entirety of the stacks on this guy change to whatever damage and whatever mods the new weapon that I shoot with has. So in theory, you can have a primer that deals 100,000 hit procs, and then you can shoot them once with a gun that deals 1 million damage per hit proc, and the guy is gonna take, quite a lot of damage from that. So that is what a hit inherit basically is, and it is very useful for priming enemies, and it is very useful for doing those kind of strats with Gauss's thermal thunder and all that. And overall, heat is just one of the strongest, if not the strongest element in the game. So electricity then is another DOT. This one stuns the enemies. Before you saw heat kind of panics the enemies and they move around all the time. This one completely stuns them if I don't do impact procs. So this guy actually gets stunned. What the hell? Anyways, normally he gets stunned. He doesn't get this impact proc effect. I think it's bugged now. And as you see, these decay normally. The good part about electricity procs is that they have a bit of AoE, so if the guy is standing here and this guy is getting electric proc, this guy is also gonna get damaged by the electric proc. And finally, cold. The enemy slows down. The more cold stacks you have, the more slow the guy will be. For some reason, it stacks up to 9. I didn't know that. I thought all of them stacked to 10. But regardless, what slow does is, first of all, it increases your critical damage, and the enemies are slowed by up to 90%. 10% per stack. Okay, it makes sense why it's 9 stacks now. Anyways, so these are the 4 basic elements. Then we have Blast, which is the worst one and just decreases accuracy of the enemies. Corrosive reduces the armor of the enemies. and gas, which makes a gas cloud. Let's showcase gas actually so we can see. Oops, wrong gun. So if we add gas to this weapon, I'll put a cold quill so we only see the gas damage over time. So procs. So gas, as you see, is another damage over time effect, but instead it adds a cloud to the enemy that damages the area around the cloud. And the more stacks this guy has of gas, the bigger the cloud gets. But each stack of damage from gas stacks with each other and deals, you know, a total damage of whatever it's gonna be. So there is a misconception that adding more gas stacks doesn't increase the damage. That is not true. More gas stacks do increase the damage, but the effect itself is that the more gas stacks you have, the bigger range this cloud is gonna have. Now the bad thing about gas is the fact that gas cannot stack infinitely. It stacks only 10 times. So if you have a weapon that you shoot, let's say you shoot somebody on the head on the first time, and then you start hitting them on the legs, and it has way more status and way more gas. The first hit that is gonna be on the head is gonna deal obviously way more damage on the gas proc than the others. But once the gas procs reach 10 stacks, and you hit them with another gas proc that is on the leg, then your headshot gas proc is gonna be completely removed and replaced with a weaker one. And this is the main issue with gas and why people avoid it. Now, gas can be useful in a lot of builds, and it can be really nice to have, but overall people avoid it for these two reasons alone. The fact that it's not scaling infinitely, and the fact that, you know, it can remove your stronger gas proc because you're hitting a weaker body part. Then we have magnetic, which is good for damaging shields, but it's not very useful, we'll see why. And then we have radiation, which turns on friendly fire for enemies and is generally strong. And finally, viral, which makes enemies take more damage to health and is by far the most popular damage type in the game. So, let's first of all talk about build variety and some stuff. So, I don't think I will use the Histrix for this actually. Let's use a normal gun. Braddon. So if we take this Braddon Prime, not using Canon version. So basically, corrosive is versus viral, because like if you want to fight, these are the three main rules right now. If you want to use elemental damage, you will build corrosive or viral if you want to go against Grineer. Radiation is fine if you want to do one-shot weapons, but it's generally not that good for modding more radiation than just having it on the weapon. And then magnetic is okay for corpus, but not really needed because toxin is better. Blast is completely useless, so never use it. And gas damage is nice for AoE focused weapons and AoE focused builds. So general rule, if you want to go against Grineer, either viral or corrosive. If you want to go against corpus, then you want to go toxin and magnetic or just toxin. So that is about it. Electricity, cold, all the others are niche and you can use them obviously. Hit damage is great to have as well as a combined element, all to completely overdose on hit damage and do a lot of damage with it. Now, on this Braddon Prime, let's say, first of all, we're gonna obviously add crit, because crit is good. Nothing wrong with being crit heavy. And now let's add viral, right? So I'm gonna add the 60-60 so we have more status chance as well, so we can showcase this normally. So let's respawn this guy. So what is the purpose of viral and corrosive? So viral scales really well with other DOT procs. So if we... Okay, wait. I gotta remove my cavat. Here, I'm gonna strip that guy. Bad kitty. Bad kitty. Anyways. So viral damage is working well with other DOT procs because viral damage increases damage to health by up to 350%. So you see with a lot of slash procs, this guy takes a lot of damage from those, it can really die. However, if you want to go for a build that is focused more about dealing damage than dealing DOT, then corrosive should be your go-to. And why? Because corrosive, in general, will deal way more damage on its own to the heavier Grineer units, but at the end of the day, it will deal less damage because your DOT procs will be less. So we're seeing 530 damage on this guy per shot, right? When we're headshotting him and critting him. If we change to viral, do this again. Ten stacks. You see, only 215 damage, but he's dying quicker, and he's dying quicker because of those DOT procs. So, in general, it's mostly what you want to do. If your gun has a lot of damage, it is really nice to go corrosive. If your gun is focused around mainly having dot procs with slash or heat or something like that, then viral is your go-to. And generally, to get more value from corrosive, you need to stack it up to 10 times, while getting value from viral only requires really one stack. And this is because viral starts as 100% damage, while corrosive only starts at, I believe, 25% armor, which is basically nothing. It might be even lower, I just don't remember correctly. So that is about it for Grenier. For corpus enemies, as I said, just, infected clip, and then you're pretty much good to go. You can just mod fully for toxin damage. You can use infected clip and malignant force, and it will be completely fine. So now let's go to something a bit more important, and that is weapons that have innate elemental damages. So I'm gonna use a Comorex for this. The Comorex, many people don't know, is a weapon that on the second zoom it has plus 100% viral damage. I'm gonna showcase this with a viral proc on this guy, just so you know. So instantly getting viral proc. Second one, it is 100% viral damage. So this is an innate viral. Because the damage of viral is innate, that we can now mod corrosive into it. Now, ideally, I should probably showcase another weapon that already has viral corrosive, because you would be able to see from the stats directly. Let me see if I have one. I have Phantasma, which is radiation, so I guess that's good. Salt is radiation. Radiation. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just showcase the Phantasma for real quick, and then I'll change, right? So Phantasma, now that we see the stats, is radiation and impact. So because the radiation is innate, no matter what we mod here, it's gonna stay as radiation. We're not gonna lose it. And the best part about it is that even if we use something that is in radiation, like electricity, because, to get radiation you combine electricity and heat, it will not combine with radiation. Radiation is just the base damage type and will only be increased if we use a mod to increase it like this. Otherwise, it does not matter whatsoever. And this is very important for these weapons, because whatever stats they have innate, you can use it and completely ignore it for the fact that it just exists there to make your life easier. So for the case of the Phantasma, we can get a radiation going on, which is really good against some Grenier units in terms of damage, just like corrosive. And then we can go for something like radiation and corrosive at the same time, which would cover every Grenier unit in the game to deal max damage to them. But then again, the thing with this one, right, is if we go for viral right now, viral is not using any of the two elements used here. Now this allows us to go with heat as well, and this will combine with viral, heat, and radiation. Also, in case you don't know, to make the exact elements you want, from top left to top right, bottom left to bottom right is the order of the modes. So if I move this down, we'd suddenly get gas and cold. If I move this down here, then we will get blast and toxin, because this will combine first and then this will come last, and etc. So it's kind of how you understand how the modes will combine. But in general, because you can already build radiation viral here, this isn't something you would want to do, except you want to do heat inherit with a lot of heat damage, which is what you basically do on the Phantasma. So as you see, the Phantasma build that I'm using just uses as much heat damage as possible. We'll get to that, but first of all, let's showcase the Comorex to see how OP this is. So on the Comorex now we have innate viral damage, right? So we can get corrosive. So this will give us corrosive and viral. So boom and boom, corrosive viral. But then again, we have a mod right now in the game that gives us radiation as well. So what happens if we do this? Because this is counted as basically adding a base damage mod to it, this doesn't combine with anything. It's just a flat 60% radiation damage. So right now, I have a Comorex that deals radiation, corrosive, and viral. So, yeah. It is quite crazy. So, I'm gonna just do this for the loss. Actually, no, let's not add Bane mode yet. And let's see. Oh, oops, I didn't. Oh. That is the lowest fucking fire rate I've ever seen. Holy shit. Well, you can understand that any kind of enemy that I spawn from the Grenier units right now will just get one-shots. No matter what I spawn, you can get any of these units in, even the ones that I haven't scanned, and they will be killed very, very quickly because the damage we have modded for covers every single enemy in this category. Every single one. Just a staircase. This is the damage against this guy. And this is the damage against this guy. So he died a bit quicker because bombards are weak to radiation. And these guys are weak to corrosive. They are both weak to viral after their armor stripped. So yeah. It is... regardless of what you build on this, it will be very strong. So if your weapon has anything like innate corrosive, innate viral, innate radiation, it is automatically good against the Grenier because innate radiation, like the Salta, deals massive damage to the Grenier units. Innate corrosive helps you with armor strip and deals massive damage to Grenier units. Innate viral will increase whatever damage you put after the innate viral, so... it is clearly broken if you have a gun that has any of these kind of elements already put into it. So, just a fact that you should know, in my opinion. Now, one last thing to say before we move on to the last point with elemental damage is from the epitaph. This is a weapon that deals a guaranteed blast proc, a guaranteed cold proc, and a guaranteed impact proc. And these are amazing because you can now build for whatever element it's missing. And you can make it so that these elements are getting accounted into your build. So for example, on this config B build, I put radiation, corrosive, and heat, and secondary encumber. Now if I just remove the encumber, we're gonna see that with one shot, this guy takes 2 radiation, 1 impact, 1 slash, 1 cold. Heat procs. Well, the blast proc wasn't guaranteed, but we see it there, 3 blast procs. So we keep shooting. This is without secondary encumber. He gets a lot of stacks, and therefore whatever weapon he's gonna use after is gonna deal a lot of damage to it. And the whole priming idea and the idea that primers work is basically these modes right here that give you direct damage type or status type affecting the target. These are basically our mod that is our bread and butter. Every build that we do in the game, pretty much every single build except a handful of weapons, rely on this mode and rely on priming to get their maximum value. So now that all these are out of the way, and you know some stuff about innate damage types, now we're gonna go to something that is way more interesting in my opinion, and something that people never really talk about. And that is innate guaranteed procs. So the Zoris. You saw my chroma video. You probably have no idea what happened. So why is the Zoris so strong? And why is it now, in my opinion, one of the most meta weapons in the entire game? So, to make this a bit easier, we're gonna have Volatile Quick Return. This just increases the range of the of the heavy attack to 12 meters, so it hits every single enemy that I might hit. So the Zoris is a weapon that deals a guaranteed electricity proc on its heavy attack. So if we throw it and then the heavy attack, electric proc. Alright? This is no matter what you're gonna build. So if we're building this for viral, let's say, boom and boom, and we throw it. So you see it deals corrosive. Now keep this number in mind. 14 damage from the electricity proc, okay? Let's remove the viral damage. Let's see how much our electricity proc deals. Wait, did I have to? I guess I had to. Well, 6. Hold on. Basically, I want to showcase that it doesn't scale with whatever mods you have, so please don't proc viral. It proc viral. Kill myself. Okay, wait. Please, I just want to showcase this for the video. Thank you. What does this say? 6. Okay, see? So I modded for viral. The electricity proc itself doesn't deal any more damage. Before it dealt more because it had 2 procs of electricity, so it dealt more damage. So these didn't scale whatever damage I was doing at all, even though I added a lot of damage to the weapon. Clearly I added 1800 more damage. Why is that? Because whatever elemental damage you have will scale only with the damage mods that are scaling itself. So if you have, let's say, a weapon that you want to build for heat, and you don't have a lot of heat damage onto the weapon, your heat procs are not gonna deal that much damage. And that is because no matter how many viral stacks you have on the enemy, no matter how many corrosive stacks you have on the enemy, your heat procs are still only scaling on whatever heat damage you may have. That is very important to know when building something that is mainly focused on dealing heat damage. And this is tied into the damage weighting that we're going to look after this, but for now let's finish with this one. So with this Zoris right now, if we want to increase the heat damage, we must use an electricity mode, or if we want to increase the electric proc, you must use an electricity mode. So we went to 11 from 6 because we added an electricity mode. Amazing. If we add more electricity, obviously it will go further up. But here is something that you might find very interesting. What if we make this now corrosive? Actually, you know what? I'll remove the electricity proc right now, because if we add this, the toxic mode, we get automatically corrosive damage. Actually, just go all in here. So we counted 11 damage with the electric mode. Let's see what corrosive will do. 6. So this is kind of expected, right? That we didn't get a damage increase. But look what happens. Now, you would think that adding more electricity to boost corrosive even more will not increase the damage we deal with the electricity proc. However, that is not true. We do actually get more damage from the electricity proc. Why? Because the only thing that is scaling this electricity mode is whatever electricity mods you have. So this electricity proc, if we built this Zoris for radiation, it wouldn't matter to the electricity proc itself as long as we have more electricity mods on there. So if we added focus energy, if we added voltaic strike, if we added like crits, if we added, I don't know, anything else. Let's add more crit, let's add my Riven. Fuck it. So now this is just tying in to the actual electricity proc itself. Now the Zoris is also really nice because it is innate electricity. So in theory, you could even add prime pressure point, because prime pressure point, all it's gonna do is increase that base electricity damage by 165%. So with all this in mind and some shenanigans, even something like this, without any armor strip, deals 157 per proc. Which you may say, fucking terrible, right? Well, not really. As I said, this is no armor strip at all. And obviously this build sucks. This is not something you would go for. But it's something to know when you want to build some weapon that has an innate electricity, an innate toxin proc, something like that. For example, if you wanted to build a Serrata, right here, the Prime Fever Strike mode is a must-have, because Prime Fever Strike mode is gonna increase the toxin proc that the Serrata will have on its heavy attack. This is the same for any kind of weapon that has a guaranteed proc on its heavy attack. Everything. Every single one. And you may say there are not many though. Well, every glaive has one. Some weapons here do have one. For example, the explosions of the Quanta Vandal, Sinoid similar explosions. There is quite a lot of weapons that have them that are very niche, but knowing this, you can really break them. Mutally Cernos Cloud, you know. If I search for a bit, I will find a big list of these weapons. But for now, just know that these kind of innate elemental damage procs, the DOT procs, are scaled of their respective elemental modes. This is true for any kind of damage mode you may have, but this makes sense for, you know, the actual damage mode that you may have on your weapon. For a guaranteed toxin proc to deal more damage if you build corrosive on it, depending on whatever toxin mode you have on it, is something that a lot of people don't really know and a lot of people underestimate. And this is why the Zoris and the Serrata are super strong, and why they scale better than the Glaive Prime in the end of... Not that the Glaive Prime is bad, but these two scale way better. So, with that out of the way, let's go to the last detail that we want to talk about, and we're gonna pick Phantasma for this one again, because I know you guys love this weapon so much, and I hate it, but we're gonna go with the normal one. So, now with this one, we're gonna ask the question, what exactly scales these elemental dot procs? So, obviously, as I said, adding more hit damage will scale this dramatically. So, as much hit as possible will in fact scale these. But then again, let me add Toxin because this has hold as well. Alright, amazing. Nope. Do we need it before the Toxin? No. Wait, what? I don't understand. Hold up. Have I not done the same thing here? Alright, cool. The Blaze mode was before the Riven mode. So, the Riven mode, in case you're wondering, how the actual stats work on the Riven, whatever element is on the bottom is getting into account first. So, this one is using cold first and then heat. If heat was below cold, then heat would be used first and cold would be used second. So this Riven would basically not work at all. So that is how Riven modes work with elemental modes. And here we have a viral heat build, right? So first of all, adding more percentage of heat damage will account to more percentage of heat procs being affected to the enemy. And adding more... viral damage, more impact damage will account for these elements of proc, but they will also scale with their respective elements. So that is something to know. And something else to know that I forgot about mentioning, sorry about that, is here. So the Nagantaka is a weapon that has a ridiculous amount of slash, right? It is considered one of the best slash weapons. It is the weapon that I will probably make a video on very soon, But I want to show this because it is very interesting to know about. So, as we saw before with slash proccing, adding more slash, like with the slash mode here, will not increase the actual slash damage you might deal. So, let's go ahead and add 2 hit mods, right? So now we have 90 and 60, 150% hit damage to this. So let's see our distribution of slash to hit proc. So we get a slash, we get heat, heat, nothing, nothing, slash, slash, nothing, heat, slash, slash. So it's around 50-50 right now, you can see. Now, that kind of makes sense because this weapon is very heavily slash based. However, what if we now add base damage with serration? What do you think it will happen? So we should now slash, more impact procs, 1 hit proc, slash again, hit proc, hit proc, hit proc. Come on, stop failing like this. Slash proc, slash proc. Basically, because the serration mode is adding base damage, you're gonna get way more of these slash procs than the actual hit procs, which for some reason right now is failing me and is not happening. I hate this game so much. Why are you not slash procing? What the hell? Also, it's kind of unlucky that this has guaranteed impact proc, so the enemy moves around a lot. But basically what I want to get to you is that adding serration to this will give us way more percentage to do slash than percentage to do heat. But for some reason right now that is not showcasing and I'm getting hit procs on it. That is absolutely insane. I got 7 hit procs and 0 slash procs. Obviously there is RNG behind it, but come on. That is just insanity. That is just insanity. On the other video that I actually showcased this worked perfectly. Like I added slash and we saw like 10 slash procs and 3 hit procs, but whatever. I won't sugarcoat it. Just know that adding base damage to some weapon with high base damage on one element will weight that damage to that element no matter what. So we can get, if you want to get a balanced amount of slash and hit procs, you can add base damage to get more slash procs if you don't have hunter munitions or internal bleeding or something like that. That is what I wanted to showcase, but it was a failure. It didn't want to showcase. Unlucky. I'm not gonna yap about this much longer. Let's just get to the point, which is this. So right now on this one, as I said, we have mainly hit damage, and I just want to show the difference by removing the incendiary coat mode and putting it back in. So right now we're gonna go to that enemy. I'm gonna stop at around 50 hit procs. So 51 hit procs would deal 2900 damage with 10 viral. 10 viral makes sense because this is a shotgun and it deals a lot of procs. And now with incendiary coats, we're first of all gonna be getting way more hit procs way faster, and we're gonna be getting more damage as well. So 53 hit procs, we have 51 instead of 2100. It is a big difference, and I'm also gonna showcase how many different hit procs we're gonna get with one mag compared to one mag from the previous build. So one mag from this one gets us to 81. And by simply removing it and doing it again, one mag gets us to 53 or 58, my bad. So quite a bit of damage difference overall. You saw that guy before was around half HP, bit less when we left him out. And without the incendiary coat mode, we are left at around 70% health. So if you want to have a build that is heavy on one element like heat, toxin, or electricity, it is advised and it is 100% recommended by me and everyone else that you build for that mode as much as possible and try to get viral in just so you get one viral proc at least to scale the damage as much as possible. Now, if you want to see how funny this can be, even with like almost nothing, we're gonna make this guy Eximus. And 1 million hit proc, 1 million damage hit proc with basically nothing. You can understand that, you know, any kind of dot element that you use and you can armor strip an enemy, it will absolutely shred the enemy. So that is basically about it when it comes to elemental damage. I hope you did learn something about all the topics that I explained, and just remember to use your setup to whatever your liking is. Don't listen to others. If you like gas damage on your Neferi or whatever, then use gas damage on your Neferi. Nobody's gonna judge you. But just know that, you know, there is some pretty interesting properties to a lot of weapons that have innate damage innate elemental procs, and how damage weighting and elemental damage scales. Oh yeah, one last thing, important, forgot to mention, once again. If you go here, you add a Bane mods, or what is the mod called here? Fuck. The cleanse mod. Alright, if you add a cleanse mod here, the multiplier from the cleanse mode will scale both the damage that you do to the enemy and the proc itself, which is pretty big. But I think everyone knows that the faction damages do scale any kind of dot procs you have, because we saw that in the bleed video as well. So, you know, that is about it. Not much else to say. Take care out there, have fun building, and I hope this video helped you. Have a great day.